and over again, he's been accused of being a racist. And yet again, the Democratic Party calling stuff Jim Crow 2.0.
They know it's the truth. It is Jim Crow 2.0.
Allow what is truly Jim Crow 2.0.
Let's admit the truth. Everywhere people go, they're asked for a Social Security card. In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a Social Security card.
What they are proposing in this so-called SAVE Act is like Jim Crow 2.0.
This is not some sort of subterfuge to engage in Jim Crow 2.0 any more than the Democratic National Convention.
You've repeatedly called the Save America Act Jim Crow 2.0. Can you just be a little bit more specific in your comparison between blatant racial segregation and the need for secure elections in America?
And why the right wing is so angry we call it Jim Crow? Because they know it's true.
The Democrat leader has been calling this bill Jim Crow 2.0, a phrase that is not only deeply irresponsible and insulting to those who actually lived through that dark chapter in our history, but also insults the overwhelming majority of Americans, including minorities, who look at voter ID and see nothing more than common sense.
What does Jim Crow 2.0 feels like to you?
Call from
Dwayne.
Dwayne, what's going on? Where you from?
Oh, I'm from Texas.
All
Hey,
right.
how you doing?
All right. You from Texas? What part of Texas?
Dallas area.
Dallas area. Okay, got you. So what's on your mind?
Yeah. Are we live?
Yes, we are. I'm that
we just
informal.
talking?
I'm that informal. We're live right now. We're that informal.
Okay.
Talk to me.
Okay.
What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I was just wondering. Hold on, let me cut this down. Hold on one second.
You got it.
I was just sitting here wondering. I know there's a lot going on right now in the country with the war and, people on different sides. You got people for Trump. You got people against Trump.
Yes.
But I was just browsing through, just passing through, and I seen your podcast.
Yeah.
You're a black man, right?
You know it.
Okay. So, and you're a Trump supporter, correct?
You got it.
Okay. So I just want to ask you how you feel, and I know it probably happened some time ago, but how do you feel about Trump being sued for housing discrimination to black people back when he owned his apartment complex?
It was actually,
and if that question is a little, too much, how about when he advocated for the brown and black teenagers? I think it was one Latino and 4 blacks, and they made a movie out of it called Central Park 5. How do you feel about him taking out a $250,000 ad and 5 major New York newspapers for their death penalty? And even after they were exonerated and found not guilty, still no apologies from your Trump, your leader.
Okay, so it was 2 points there. I think one you mentioned about how I feel about him with housing. I think that was with him and his father. I think I've mentioned that time and time again, but I know you haven't. You just came across my content. So I've addressed that, like, I know at least a dozen times. But to be honest with you,
well,
it was him and his father.
Well, like I said, I was just passing through.
Yeah.
I'm asking that question.
Yeah, I'm trying to answer to you.
How do you feel about this guy being discriminative?
So you saying he's racist? Listen, I want to make sure I'm gonna get to
I'm saying he was sued for discrimination.
Right.
Okay, for housing discrimination. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. How do you feel about that? He would not rent to black people. How do you feel about that?
I think you.
Hello.
I know. I want to make sure you're going to say anything else. You cut me off last time when I was getting going. I want to make sure I want to make sure you clear it up before I start getting my little hustle. Get my little train going.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
So how do you feel about that?
Okay, I got you. All right. So the first thing on this housing thing with parents there, with the black man or black people, I think it was him and his father. Hold on a second. I got a phone call. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm back right now. All right, so you said the black man with the housing, black people in housing. I believe it was owned by him and his father, not just him alone. I think many people. Hold on a second. If you keep on cutting me off, I'm going to have to take it to another level. All right, so I didn't cut you off. I even paused after you finished. Okay? All right, so that's one thing. And me supporting someone because they were sued doesn't make him guilty of anything. I think we all have workers and stuff. This guy is a billionaire. It could have been anything. I know he rocked with a lot of African Americans, even Jesse Jackson, who even kind of like Son trying to mention something about that. He's not the only person who was sued because of that. Also, I want to make sure that I point out, you mentioned the 5. These guys actually said, the Central Park 5, I think they were called that. These guys were actually say they were guilty. They had a confession.
No.
Wait a minute. They did have a confession. And then they said that the confession was wrong, and then they got exonerated.
Let me explain something to you.
Hold on a second.
But it seems...
Actually, it was true. So when it happens is a lot of people thought they were guilty anyway. So for you to say that someone just picked out these 4 black kids and 1 Hispanic kid as being guilty is totally wrong. They were actually saying themselves they were guilty. So for you to feel that way, you already have a predisposition of being a Democrat who wants to run this thought through my throat. Over and over again, he's been accused of being a racist. And yet again, the Democratic Party calling stuff Jim Crow 2.0. How do you feel about that? I'm going to flip the question back to you right now. Right now in 2026, they're saying the Save American Act is Jim Crow 2.0. So they can't hear you right now, but I'm going to ask you, answer that question. Do you think the Save American Act is like Jim Crow 2.0? Here we go.
Okay, so I'll answer that question for you, and I guarantee I got a good answer for you.
I got it.
But I also want
No. Answer that. I don't need a parquet.
No.
I don't need a caveat.
No, I'm gonna answer that question. Save America Act. I got an answer for you.
Then answer it while you're thinking about it. Answer the 2 point. One more time. Wait a minute. I'm going to put your volume back down. Now, I'm going to put it back up again because you put me out on this as being a racist and everything. I think the biggest racist thing to do now is to say that the Save American Act is a Jim Crow where people were getting lynched and hung and couldn't do things bipartisan. Couldn't drink out of water fountains. All kind of harmful things for black people in America. And now you got a white man, and you got these other people saying that it's Jim Crow 2.0. I'm going to ask you again, Wayne from Texas, or I'm from Texas. I know how it feels to be and how I've heard stories about oppression. What do you think about that? I'm going to ask you again. One more time, damn it. What is Jim Crow 2.0 feels like to you? Here we go. The volume's about to come up.
Listen to me. Whenever I can talk.
You can talk now.
I don't know who said... Okay, thank you. I don't know who labeled the American Save America Act as Jim Crow 2.0, but I'll tell you what my perspective of it is. Okay, if you will allow me. Okay, so listen. If Trump loses the midterms, he gets impeached. Okay? You asked me a question. Let me answer it. If he loses the midterms, he gets impeached. In my opinion, the Save American Act is voter suppression. Okay, now let me continue. If he loses midterms, he gets impeached. If he gets impeached, everybody goes to federal prison. I'm talking about everybody from the DOJ to whoever's running the FBI. Anybody who had anything to do with obstructing the justice as far as the Epstein files. Okay, because if he gets impeached, somebody, if the Democrats flip enough seats during the midterms, then they'll have somewhat of a majority. Right now, it's only Republicans, the Senate, the House, and everything else. So nobody's getting anything. Everything's overly redacted. And I guarantee you, somewhere out there are some files or copies of those files that are unredacted. Hey, in the famous words of George Bush, if you don't have anything to hide, you have nothing fucking to worry about. Now, that's my answer to your question about the Save America Act. I think him along with, what's the guy's name, Steve Bannon, They've already planned that he's going to be president again. That's not going to happen. That goes against the Constitution, okay? Now, I don't know who said the American Save Act or the Save American Act or whatever it is was 2.0 Jim Crow. You know, I disagree with that. I think it's a way to save his ass from, because here's the deal. He has, ultimate immunity for official acts only. What's in those Epstein files are not official acts. Those are acts of perversion, something he can be held accountable for. Now, I answered that question, but I did want to pivot back to the Central Park Five. They were young. They were not supposed to be interrogated without their parents.
Yeah.
They were beat the up. They were abused.
Yeah.
Okay. You know.
So that's
Netflix
Trump's fault. That's Trump's fault. Did Trump know that?
And yes, sir. So they did admit they were under, they were made to plead guilty, and they were lied to.
Yeah.
So, but here's the deal: they were exonerated. They found the person that did it.
Yeah.
And still, hey, look, if I accuse you, I don't give a damn if we both live in Texas.
I'm saying
if I
yes.
accuse you of something,
I'm saying yes.
Listen to me. If I accuse you of something, and then later, and basically, I'm accusing you because I'm trying to cater to a certain base of people. You're black, and let's say I'm a white guy.
Yeah.
Hang him. Give him the 5 headlines in 5 major newspapers in New York. Give these young punks the death penalty. Okay? And after they were exonerated, no apology. See, I wouldn't apologize either if I was a race-baiting demagogue, because that wouldn't go well with my
persona,
with my supporters.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how.
He was a Democrat at that time. Now, I want to make sure you point out that. Oh, wait, hold on a second.
Whether you're a human being or a politician,
how long
if
you
you're
gonna
wrong,
talk?
you're wrong. Admit it.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Right,
now,
Wayne.
I answered your question to the
Right,
Save America Act,
hold on a second,
and I
Wayne.
just wanted to pivot back
Wayne,
to
you
the
gonna let me
Central
talk?
Park Five.
Wayne, you gonna let me talk?
They were young kids.
Yeah, you're totally
young
right.
Black kids.
You're totally right, Wayne.
But
You're
go
totally
ahead.
right. They were wrong. They were young kids. I think Trump was
Yes,
a lot younger too then, and he was actually a Democrat when he put that out there.
No, he was a grown-ass man. He was a race
Listen,
baiter.
I said he was a Democrat. He wasn't not a Democrat probably right around that time, and then he was like a Republican. I think a lot of black people liked him. A lot of African American black people liked him. Okay. Also, you mentioned the Save America Act is a voter suppression. Are you for real for asking for American ID? You think it's a voter suppression? And then listen, why are you not holding white Democrats accountable? Let me talk. Please let me talk, because I let you talk. Why are you gonna let a white man and Hispanics and all these other nationalities call it Jim Crow 2.0? I haven't heard a black person say it yet. And you're not holding them and checking them. You're not just sitting in the pocket just watching that shit. That is not cool with me at all. So if you want to go flippy floppy stop in, hold them accountable. Hold those white Democrats accountable, damn it. Malcolm X called it like it is. A white liberal or white liberal is the most dangerous thing in America.
Our Democrat colleagues are fond of bellowing into the TV cameras that photo ID to vote is Jim Crow. They tell us with mock earnestness. Now, I will admit, our Democrat colleagues should be experts in Jim Crow, because it was Democrat politicians who passed the Jim Crow laws. It was Democrat politicians who founded the Ku Klux Klan. It was Democrat politicians for decade after decade who enforced discrimination, separate but equal, poll taxes, and a host of other laws designed to prevent African Americans from voting. But do you know who has rejected their disingenuous claim that photo ID to vote is Jim Crow? The Supreme Court of the United States.
And you are just letting it happen right there on your call, Wayne. I just want you to know that, Wayne, from Texas, that you're holding them, you're not holding everybody accountable. You're picking and choosing which one is going. And the Save America Act is exactly what it says, to save America. The far left has been hijacked over and over again. And now you're telling me that everybody in his administration are going to prison? If he loses, that you say, hold on a second, Wayne, let me talk. I wrote down notes. Now, give me, damn it, give me a chance to finish, Wayne. Wayne, give me a chance to finish. Wayne, I'm about to turn your volume down if you don't let me finish. I'll let you finish.
Go ahead.
Okay, all right now,
Go
Wayne.
ahead.
Listen now. Everybody's going to prison, you saying, if they get the House or the Senate, I think you're referring to when you say that, Wayne. Wayne, how you want to work with somebody who's trying to put you in prison? How do you want to work with somebody who's trying to hold people down? You know what, Wayne? I want you to check those people in your party there, the Democratic Party.
What do you mean? What do you mean work with them? What do you mean work with them?
He doesn't want to work. Listen, they don't want to work with them. He already said it. He's not going to work. You just told me if they win the House or the Senate, they're gonna what, impeach him, and everybody in his administration is going to prison. What kind of common sense is that? I didn't hear anything of that nonsense that was going on with the open borders. I didn't hear the nonsense of all this other stuff with the auto pen that we know is going stuff. And also, you mentioned the Epstein files, because I have it written down here. You mentioned the Epstein files. Damn it, they had the files before Trump got back in there. They had the files before Trump got in there. Why, when he was running for president? What'd you say?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who had it. Who has it now? And when you
wait a minute, it doesn't matter. Now you're moving. Have you ever played a game before and you're going to tell somebody it doesn't matter? It does matter, damn it. The ball was in their court and they didn't do crap with the ball. Now the ball's in Trump's court and he's putting it out there at least.
Well, if you say the last few administrations were weak and they didn't know what the hell they were doing, now you're head of this administration. So you do the right thing. But you won't do that because your name's all over the Epstein file. Listen, let me explain something to you. I'll say it again. If they lose the midterms, if the Democrats flip enough seats, his ass is being impeached. He will not run a third time to be president because his life depends on it. Because if he doesn't, I mean, he's going to prison. You know, that's just the facts.
Trump's not going to prison. You know he's not going to prison. But you know what? You know who may go to prison?
Man,
you know listen, you still haven't answered Jim Crow with the Democrats. A white man saying Jim Crow and you didn't check him. You say you didn't agree with it.
You know what? I didn't hear that. I'm only hearing that from you. And I just told you.
That scares me. You haven't heard it. You haven't heard Chuck Schumer. You haven't heard these other Democrats. Listen, you need to watch my video. I just put another video out of another Democrat saying that. Listen, I know what Jim Crow was about. You dodging the football by Jim Crow. Our time is up.
Voters, and when they tally up the vote, you'll have Trump sitting around saying, "This is not right."
Listen, man. You can screw this. You're circle talking. I heard you say that before. You're circle talking. Listen. You're making stuff up. You don't know what's going on. You don't even know about what's going on, man. Listen, when you start reading about what's going on, I want you to look up the Jim Crow 2.0 since you don't know. Ain't no need for both of us to be talking, Wayne. They can't hear you right now, Wayne. There's no need for you. Your phone is breaking up. Rain. I got Jason Martin saying you got to go. I got my mod saying you got to go. All right, take care, man. Bye. Here we go. I'm going to have to let you go, Wayne. Your phone's breaking up.